Oh, I did it again. I'm dead. Good game. Climbing is painful in this game? Not really, bro. Look, no elo climb is really that bad. I'll be perfectly honest. If you're just vibing the whole time, like, dude, it's totally fine. Yeah, I'm gonna be so for real. If you're playing and you're getting a little bit angry about the PNG that's next to your name, like, bro, you're doing it wrong. If you can win at least half of the games that you're playing, you'll climb no matter what. I'm pretty sure all elos are scaled in a way to where you will inevitably get higher. Granted, if you play negative, or if you have a negative win rate, it's going to be a much slower and a more tedious grind, but you're eventually always going to get higher. The other caveat being, if you're not improving while climbing, again, you're doing it wrong. Like, you are always basically going to be on an upward trajectory if you play somewhat smart. Listen, there's like ways to make your elo climb higher and faster, you know? But like the point here is, if you're like, damn, this grind sucks in this game, I mean, you're probably not having fun playing the game, which is why you're having trouble grinding or climbing, you know? Because 9 times out of 10, if you're having fun, it doesn't matter if you're winning or losing. You're also going to be absorbing more information, so you will inevitably end up climbing. Nah, but you're not wrong, dude. It's much better to play around people in your elo than it is to try to be like way better. You just queue ranks with the hope that you might get lucky and win a match, or do you actually train to improve a better player? I do not play private lobbies with people. I can tell you the exact method of how I play ranked, and it's just playing a video game. All right. There's not really a whole lot of luck to it. You do not need to queue with better people to improve at a video game. If you are playing and just kind of hoping, praying that you win, you're also doing it wrong as well, right? Because I go into ranked and I use the equivalent as, hey, I'm going to try to play against people that are better than me, and I'm going to try to improve during this whole session. And my rank will inevitably go up because when I'm playing a match, I'm thinking, okay, is this punishable? Is this something I can do? Let me try to beat this situation with an answer. And if I really can't figure it out, I will take it to the lab and just try to recreate the scenario to the best of my ability. But if you are just queuing and like, oh boy, I hope I win by the grace of God, like, bro, you won't improve at anything doing that. That will never help you. Like, to be honest, it doesn't really matter who you're playing against at that point. If you're just kind of swinging and praying, you're doing it wrong. And I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea that playing people that are better than you is always the avenue to improvement. That's a little bit of a spicy take. I'm not gonna lie, but I think the old adage of just play against people better than you is wrong. So here's the thing about playing against people that are better than you. While it is an old adage, and there is a lot of truth to it, that playing against someone who's a lot better than you is going to show you things. The problem is you need to also be at a specific level, or at least a specific mindset of learning against that. And a lot of people just aren't. Because again, there's absolutely no takeaway from a 20 game losing streak if you don't understand why you're on a 20 game losing streak. There's a lot of good things about playing someone who's better than you and the things that you can take away from it. But simply just playing someone who is better than you is not going to automatically make you better. There's more work to it than just you played someone who's better than you, so your skills just naturally going to improve. And a lot of people mess up by forgetting the other part of that, which is you do have to ask questions and you do have to have someone who is willing to teach you. But I am also going to make the same argument that if you're not treating every game of ranked that you play in that same capacity, you're doing ranked wrong, for one, and two, you're not going to improve regardless. That's part of improvement. Brute forcing your way against the crackhead play. Listen, that's also a valid way to learn. Because like also, not everyone learns things the same way. But again, depending on the amount of effort you're trying to put into something or what your end goal is, there are more efficient uses of your time. But also getting good is a journey you can't rush. Yeah, I mean, it's not. But like I said, depending on your goal, like it's a very nuanced conversation because again, we're applying this to just like the general public, which again, if you're like, hey, I just want to hit diamond like I am, like, dude, doing ranked matches is totally fine. You'll get there literally eventually. Data bank is just surviving the grind. The amount you improve while doing so is typically enough to make it there eventually. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It like literally, if your goal is just to hit a certain ranked, you are doing more than enough by playing ranked with a little bit of thought behind it. You don't even need a whole lot. You just need a little bit because you will inevitably improve just via osmosis to be able to get to bank. But improvement, much like any other thing you do, improvement can be more efficient depending on how you do this. And I'll give you an example of this. If you are someone who is like, I want to go to competitive tournaments for something like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but you work a full-time job and you only have maybe 2 to 3 hours after work to train, and you go twice a day or twice a week, excuse me. You go like twice a week and you're like, I want to go do a turn. I don't care about my placement. I just want to be able to go there and not immediately just get booted. If you go to the like traditional route of just being like, I'm just going to go queue up sparring with everybody and I'm just going to grind sparring. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to go for, or have my game plan that I want to go for, and we're just going to try it. That's kind of dumb. Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's a little bit of dumb because you have a limited amount of time and the only thing that you're doing is just beating your head against the wall, essentially. You know what I used to do when I was like in judo and I was just learning and I was only going a couple times a week? Literally what I would do is we'd have class. The entire time during that class, which is only about an hour long, I'm there putting notes in my phone. I still have the notes in my phone from everything I was doing in judo because I was like, eventually I want to improve enough to be able to go to tournaments for this. I have a whole list of notes in my notes app of scenario, like things that I was running into in judo that were frustrating, whether it's like specific grips or specific situations that I'm in. I would write down what worked when I was sparring, what really didn't work when I was sparring, who it didn't work against. And then I would ask that person, hey, so this is what I'm trying to go for. Like, what should I do here? And then I would take that improvement. I only get like maybe like 4 hours of mat time at most a week, but you grow so fast just by doing that. If your goal is to go to like tournaments, again, for fighting games, and you want to place well in them and you have a limited amount of time, it's about how you utilize that time rather than just having the time. But if my goal is just to go to judo, you know, get a couple sparring rounds in every week, like, dude, then I'm fine for what I'm doing. I don't need to be taking notes. I use martial arts as an example because that is also a really hugely skill-based hobby to have that a lot of people there's going to be some crossover between fighting games and martial arts. So I'm using that as an example for like improvement and why I'm very like, bro, you're very much in the mindset of it really just depends on what you're trying to get out of it, how much effort you should be putting into something. But I use all this as an example to say that just because you put in effort into something does not necessarily mean you're going to get results. So I don't want people to think that like the only way to improve is either through a ranked grind or grinding out sets with people that are significantly better than you or any other thing like that, because it's a lot more to it than just grind. You know, there's an entire element that a lot of people just kind of ignore, which is the practice and the mindset. But that's why you'll hear me when I'm playing like ranked games, I'll talk to myself and think like, hey, does this work here? That is just me taking notes on the fly. Improvement is not just raw effort. There's so much more to it than just I'm going to grind ranked and pray to God and see what happens.